Hello, there are 4 things that we should keep in mind. First thing is, we should always remember about impermanence. The second thing is, we should always remember others. Third thing is, we should always remember our teacher. And the last is that we always should remember to turn our mind towards itself. So, the first thing is impermanence. People might think that impermanence is either a very boring subject, either a little depressing subject. Actually, it's the opposite. Thinking about impermanence and integrating the thought of impermanence into your life makes it easier, nicer, happier. Let me just explain you how and why by giving you an example. When I was young, whenever something would break, I would feel unhappy about it. That's because I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it because I was somehow thinking that everything would last, that everything would be permanent. Nowadays, I've been thinking about impermanence for quite a few years now. Whenever something breaks, at the moment it breaks, well, I feel slightly unhappy about it, or even a little bit angry about it, or a little bit sad about it. But then immediately I remember that actually I should have expected that. And then I just laugh at myself. So somehow impermanence makes me happy because I don't feel bad anymore, at least not for long, about something that I lose or something that breaks. So that's the way impermanence helps me to deal in everyday life with whatever happens. The second reason why impermanence helps us to have a happy life is because the thought that we have a limited time on this earth, that our life will come to an end, and that very logically, even if we have a long life, we can't expect to live much more than 100 years. That's already very old. Not so many people live so long. Knowing that, we can organize our life so that we won't feel that we didn't have enough time to do what we had to do. When we know that we have 1 hour to do something, we just organize ourselves, and after 1 hour we did what we had to do. In the same way, we have to organize our life according to the normal lifespan that we could expect. At least that way we have some chance not to feel regret with time passing. Thinking about impermanence and not only thinking about it, but integrating the fact of impermanence helps us to accept whatever happens. For example, water is wet. Are we going to be angry about the fact that the water is wet? Fire is hot. Are we going to be angry about the fact that fire is hot? Not at all. Even it's very useful. If water was not wet, we couldn't wash our body. If a fire was not hot, we couldn't heat our houses. So the same way, all phenomena are impermanent. There is nothing negative about that. It's a fact. And we have to take the good sides of this fact. We have to be able to use impermanence and to make it something positive. So how do we do that? Actually, it's very easy. Whenever we feel angry about something, let's just remember that what we feel angry about is already finished. It's already past. The past doesn't exist anymore. So, we are angry about something which doesn't exist anymore. We are just angry about nothing. Or even sometimes people get angry about some future event. That's even more stupid, because this event might never happen, and anyway doesn't exist yet. So again, we get angry about something which is nothing, which doesn't exist. The past doesn't exist anymore. The future doesn't exist yet. So being angry about past or future doesn't make sense. Or being sad about past or future doesn't make sense. Because we are just angry or sad about nothing. And in the present, if we are just in the present moment, we can't feel any negative emotion. It's not possible. So, having a conscience of impermanence, the more refined conscious of impermanence that we have, the less negative emotion we will have. And as it is said, the sign of a good practitioner, the sign of a good meditator, is that he or she has less and less negative emotion, less and less anger, less and less sadness, less and less attachment, less and less ignorance. Now about the second subject. We should never forget others. Sometimes we focus so much about ourselves that we completely forget about the most important. The most important is love and compassion. Love, real, true, genuine love, means only one thing: It's the wish for others to be happy. That's love. And compassion means only one thing. It's the wish, the genuine wish, that others would escape any suffering. So sometimes people just mistaken love with attachment. Attachment is not genuine love. Genuine love is altruistic feeling towards others. Attachment is egoistic feeling that we want something for us. Compassion, sometimes people think that compassion is about being depressed. Not at all. Compassion is, again, a feeling towards others. Depression is just feeling sorry about ourselves. So let's have genuine love and genuine compassion. If we have genuine love and compassion, it will make us happy and it will make others happy. The world happiness and our own happiness are independent, interdependent, depending on each other. There's a saying which says that all happiness in the world comes from caring about others, and that all suffering in the world comes from worrying about ourselves. So let's make the best wishes for others, and whenever we have the possibility of being helpful and to do something, let's do it. The best thing we can do for others is helping them to find their own way to happiness. So that's something that we should all do together. We should all do our best by any means to help all sentient beings to escape suffering and to reach happiness. As Buddhist practitioners, and that's the third point, the third subject, as Buddhist practitioners, we need to have a teacher. We need to have a master, because the life of Buddhist teachings is the transmission between master and disciple. As long as there will be masters, offering the Buddhist teachings to their disciples, who themselves later will practice those teachings and might become, in their turn, teachers. As long as this will go on, Buddhism will not disappear. So Buddhism is about teaching and receiving teachings. As Buddhist practitioners, our relation to our teacher is a very important thing. And if we want to live a practitioner's life, we should never depart from our teacher. That means that we need to feel that our teacher is always with us, in our heart, that wherever we go, whatever we do, at any moment of the day and night, we are always with our teacher. So, whenever we have any difficulty or difficult moment in our life, we should remember our teacher. One very specific moment is the moment we die. That will happen to all of us. That's the most important moment when we definitely need to remember our teacher. At that moment, whatever position we could be, if we are a great practitioner, we could die sitting. Most of people, they have to lie down. Whatever the position, we should visualize, think about our teacher, visualize our teacher above our head, and pray to our teacher. That will be of great help at that moment. And whenever we have any other kind of difficulty in life, we should apply the same method. Whenever we can't decide on something, that's something that I do. We should think, what would my teacher say about that? What advice would he give? And very often, just by doing that, we get an answer to most of our questions. Most of our doubts are cleared up by means of our devotion, trust, faith in our teacher. So, if we ask about the nature of our mind, we should first think about a very, very easy question. Where is our mind? Where is it coming from? Where is it going to? How does it look like? What shape does the mind has? What color does it has? Is it big or small? Does it change or not? So when we ask those questions to ourselves, we slowly can reach to a kind of decision, a kind of certainty that the mind is not something material, that is not something that we can hold, that we can see with our eyes, or that we can taste with our tongue, that it's not something that we can put somewhere, take for somewhere, discover somewhere. There's not a place that we can go to discover our mind. And actually, we come to the conclusion that what we have to see is something that cannot be seen. That we should look at something that doesn't have any shape, size, color, any concrete reality. Establishing this view is not yet recognizing the mind's nature. It's not yet meditating. But it gives us an approach which prevents us to going the wrong way in our meditation. So that's why having this reflection about mind nature is important, even if this is still a fabricated way, even if this is not yet the real thing. In order to be able to recognize our mind nature, we need to be introduced by a qualified master to the nature of our mind. And once we are introduced to that, we need to be very diligent in practicing the type of meditation which is sometimes called the meditation of non-meditation. In other words, the type of meditation that we will have to practice from that moment on is non-fabricated, and we have to be very diligent in being without effort. It seems a little bit strange now, but with time, if you think about what I just said, it will make more and more sense to you. So, from the moment on, let's make strong wish to be introduced to the nature of our mind, and let's take the decision, the strong decision, that once we will be introduced to the nature of our mind, we will spend the rest of our life sustaining this recognition.